Boker Tov, Yom Tov, Zoharim Tovim, and Laila Tov, no matter where you are at. This is Carrie, and I wanted to speak to you today from my heart. A heart expanded, and a heart that has been contracted, one that has experienced incredible love as well as incredible pain. I needed to share some things with you. I think many people are experiencing a profound shift that has occurred since the conjunction happened. And some of the experiences that I personally have had have been overwhelming. And I need to just share one of those with you. But before I begin, I woke up this morning, and my husband usually gets up before me. It works out really well. He has time in the morning by himself. I have morning by myself after he goes to bed. And it's just seemed to work out really nicely for the two of us, so we can have that quiet time that we need to process information on our own, because we are pretty much with each other 24/7. He shared with me a dream that he had last night, that he was building a bridge. And as he was building a bridge, it wasn't very wide. It was enough, 3 feet across for one person to cross over. And he was to put handrails on it. And as he was putting a handrail up on one side, he was asked to name it. And he was given the name of Mercy's Severity. And then he was asked to build the next handrail on the opposite side, and he was asked to name it. And he named it Severity's Mercy. And it's interesting because I told you that in the wrong order. The first one was Severity's Mercy. The next one was Mercy's Severity. What I found so profound on it is that if you are walking in between it, what is closest to you that you would be touching would be the mercy side of it. But the other side in the system of duality is that you have severity. Severity and mercy are two sides of the same coin. It's finding the middle path between the two of them where you can render everything clear in that path of neutrality. And he said that he particularly thought that it was for me, and that's why he felt like he needed to share it with me. Now that I've laid that foundation, I need to tell you about an experience I had, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this without crying, so kind of a trigger warning. If you have an aversion to tears, or then you probably don't want to listen to this. But if you are okay with crying, you might want to get some Kleenex, because like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to share this without crying and share in what happened. So the night before last, my husband and I were taking our dog to the park, and it was dusk. It was dusk. And as we were coming back from the park, which then it was dark, we were walking back to our house, and we heard a truck start honking. And so we turned around, and we saw that there was a cat laying in the middle of the road. Now, we live downtown, which isn't a big deal. It's a town of 1,400 people. We are the only house on Main Street that we live in. And so we were pretty much right in front of our house. And this truck was honking. This cat was in the middle of the road, and the cat wouldn't move. And so the truck kept honking and was trying to creep up a little bit closer to the cat. Well, the cat got up and started walking to the truck, like trying to head to underneath the tire. Now, no, the cat didn't get run over, so that's not what I'm talking about. My husband gave me the leash, so I held the dog, and he went and grabbed the cat and got it off the road. Well, we could tell that the cat wasn't doing very well, and I went to go investigate it, and this poor little cat was literally skin and bones. And I mean, I have never seen this cat. Probably was a 12 to 15 pound cat with it when it was probably in the best of health, because you could tell by the size of the paws and the legs that it was supposed to be a bigger cat. But it literally had nothing to it. And I picked it up, and it probably was 3 pounds or less. And I felt like when the cat was walking to the truck, it was asking for help, and I felt it. And so, me being my little tender, soft-hearted me, I looked at my husband and I said, we need to do something. And it got really cold the night before last, and it got cold, really, really cold last night. So we brought the cat home, and I could tell it wasn't doing well. It was an older cat, and you could just tell. I've been around cats my whole life, and so you can tell. It had obviously lost a lot of its teeth, and so the jaw, was reduced in size because of bone deterioration, and we tried to give it food and tried to give it water, and it wouldn't eat. It like wanted to eat, and it kept going to the food, but it wouldn't eat, and it was more interested about water. And the cat could barely walk. So I knew that it was in the stages of dying. Sorry. So we made a bed for it in our mudroom, and I, tenderly put a pillow in there and blankets, and it was in like a milk crate, and so covered with blankets so it could try to retain some heat. I didn't have an extra heater to put in the mudroom because we're using all the heats because our pellet stove went out, and so we're pretty much all hogging the heat so that we can stay warm with various heaters. So I didn't have a heater to give for this cat. So I did the best I could, and I kept just trying to love it and hold it and nurture it and give it light and love, because I knew that it was on its last legs. I had a very difficult time sleeping that night, and every time I woke up I thought about that cat, and so I just sent it more love. I have a cat, so I didn't want to bring it on the inside of the house because I didn't know if it potentially had disease or what was going on, but I knew it was dying. And so I woke up, I would send it love, and I would send it love, and it envisioned myself holding the cat so it wouldn't be alone. And then I had a dream. I had a dream that the cat was on a pillow, and I looked at it and I was like, "Oh my gosh, buddy, you look so much better." It was like I was getting to see it in its fullness of life. And I felt like the cat was saying thank you. And I for sure thought that when I woke up that the cat was going to be dead, and it wasn't. And part of me was sad because it was like, oh God, what am I going to do now? This cat isn't doing well. And I thought that it had passed on in the middle of the night. And that's why I saw that beautiful dream of it being content as it came over and rubbed on me and was saying thank you. And anyway, so all day I'm trying to figure out what to do. So I decided to call the local vet and kind of talk about the situation. I'm personal friends with our local vet, and have known them since we've been here, about 7 years now. And as I was talking to her, I was explaining it, and I was wrestling with the thought of putting the cat down or just letting it die on its own. And I was so wrestling with this because, well, for various reasons. But the vet said, I mean, my husband and I don't have a lot of money right now, and the vet said that if I decided to bring the cat in and they would euthanize it, that they would only charge me for the cost of putting the animal down and disposing it. And that she would only charge me $10 to do this service. And it was really kind of her. But again, I'm wrestling with, the thought of putting this cat down by my hands and my choice. So I was really wrestling with this. And I told her I would let her know, and I went in and I spent more time with the cat, and by then I had brought it inside, and I thought, well, forget it, I just got to bring it inside, it's way too cold out. So I stuck it in the bathroom with our heater, removed and put the bed in there, and then I had taken a shower in the morning, and when I went back and checked in the cat, it was in the bottom of the shower, and it was all soaking wet, and I didn't even think it was alive, but it was still alive. And so I just saw it, and I thought, watching this cat suffer was literally killing me. And it was so crazy because it was the first time, it's not even my cat. I mean, it's somebody else's cat. And I was choosing to take this burden of watching this cat suffer because it was alone in its process. And so I was trying to give it as much love as I could. And when I saw that, I realized that I needed to go and have the vet help me with this. And so I took it in, and they were actually really busy. And so I'm sitting there and I'm holding this cat covered in, in a towel, and I'm just snuggling it, and I'm trying to give love to it.
And I'm still wrestling with the decision, because when I walked away, I felt like that potentially I was supposed to just let the cat die on its own and just witness the process of it. And of course, the vet's wife said that it was the most merciful thing, or no, she said humane, what I had done. And first of all, she said that it was great that I took the cat in and didn't allow it to stay the night outside, and that I provided, warm and comfort for it, and that it was the most humane thing that I could do for it, and that she was very appreciative that I had such a heart to do it. But it was still snuffing out a life before it was ending. And so I was an absolute wreck. I haven't cried this hard, the pain that I felt with this cat. So I know that something has shifted, and I was asking why. Why? So I had to go inward to find the answers. Like, why did this hurt so much? What am I to experience? What did it mean? And what I got in the meaning of this was that the Spirit told me that I was allowed to experience this for a couple reasons. First, the Spirit was saying that when we fully enter into the age of light and love, it doesn't mean that we're not going to have death. What it means is that we are not going to have to experience the pain of separation when we fully connect to our heart, because we will have remembered. We will remember that we are eternal beings. We will remember our past life's experience, so that whenever somebody passes on, we won't have to feel the pain of separation, because we know that we're not really truly separated. It's just moving on into a different level and a different experience in life. And that helped me be able to render some of this clear with the pain that I had, because this was the craziest thing. I have never hurt so much in my life. It's like I've had the most extreme joy experience in love over the last couple days, and then here was the opposite side of it that was so overwhelming that it just felt like it just tore my heart in half. I mean, I can't even talk about it without crying. So in the fullness of love and light, we won't experience the separation. So then I wanted to start looking at something else to be able to explain this more, and what I was experiencing. So the Spirit had me, I heard the phrase, "Don't awaken love before it's time." And I knew that it was from the Song of Solomon, so I decided to take a look at it. And I have this up for you. We're going to take a look at actually the first occurrence of it. Well, I'm going to go here. We're going to talk about Song of Solomon 2:4 first. He brought me to the house, his banqueting table, and his banner over me was love. Here's the word bo, which means to come and go. If you take a look at it, it's to come in, enter in, to come to pass, to fall or light upon. So really this is connected to the word haya, and we have shown that before. Haya is the root to yod he vav he, and it means to be, to become, to come to pass. It is the root of the phrase I am that I am, ahaya asher ahaya. So just helping connect some dots. So we have the coming and going right here. So he brought me. And we have the revelation, the revealing of Mother, as she reveals love to us. And then it's the spiritual path to Father, and it's elevated. So the noon means the activity of life through the spiritual path that produces an airship, and also like strong legs to support us, because it is the base of something that is sprouted up. That, so picture like a sunflower. Picture a sunflower and how big they get. Well, they have to have a sturdy base. So that's what I always see, is the sturdy base to support the head of the sunflower, to give you the power of the right hand, which is the power of one love. Next word we have al, which means two, but it also is the word God. So brought me into the strong, which is aleph, authority, God, to God's house. So this conjunctive dash lets us know that is that connected to the house. So it's the house of El Bayit. This will also connect, if you've listened to the previous teachings that I've shared, discussions with my husband and I regarding Bat and Bereshit, the house, as well as an interpretation or an inspiration that was given called My Brave One, which I will connect and show you the link, that we were sent out from the house of El, from God, so that we could experience what we needed to. So it probably is good for me to go in and just show you this very quickly through Bible Hub Genesis 1:1, that we have the word in the beginning. Rosh is the root of this word, and if you look on the outside that's not highlighted, you have the Bet and the Yod and the Tav, the Bayit, the house, the head of the house, or a temple that has sovereignty, as is a great way to talk about it as well. So this is connected to that Song of Solomon, bringing into the house of the leader, the head. Banqueting, this is from the root word that means wine. And if you have a Christian background, where many times they talk about the new wine, the new wine, the new wine, and not putting it in the old skin. Well, this is that word. And if we take a look at it and we drill down deeper, we can see that this is connected to effervesce. It can talk about intoxication, but it means to effervesce. So effervesce, bubbles. Think of champagne, which is a type of wine that has bubbles in it from a certain place in France. So we are to effervesce like strong wine. To make merry, I love that. There was a couple other things. Wine supply, the wine skin, wine of reeling, awakening. And then we have the word banqueting. Well, actually, before we talk about, there's Mother's Revelation again, and we have talked about the double yods. And so what's interesting here is that having the dagesh in this one yod right here means it's a double yod that has become one. So in actuality, we have a triple vav right next to each other, which is, for those who give, it means to give, it means to open your hand, to give generously, but it is also power, means, and direction of the hand, which is a yod dalet through its constituent letters, meaning that you've entered into the door of your heart. This is triple. This is really fascinating to see this. And in the pattern of the cherubim on the Ark of the Covenant, they're two of the same that are facing each other. The Ark of the Testimony, the Ark of the Becoming, the pattern, Tavnith, all those beautiful things, while we are in the flesh, which is what the noon is, the fallen flesh in the material world, that we are to experience this wine. This also has to do with Melchizedek, the offering of the salt and the bread and the wine, which is another teaching I've shared regarding the ancient Hebrew wedding as far as covenants go. So I'm not going to go into that here. You can go watch that teaching series for that information. So banner, and we're looking at this, is like a standard bearer, as a flag. And we'll go down to the root of this. And to look and behold. That's huge. And when you look down, if we go all the way down about carrying or setting up a banner, it means to raise up a flag and to be conspicuous. This ties exactly into the word Shem. This is a big connection here. Strong's Hebrew Shem. Let's go down to the bottom of it. A definite and conspicuous position. A mark or memorial of individuality, by implication, honor, authority, and character. And I have talked about this before, but quickly, when you take a look at the letters, you have the sheen, which is a representation of fire, and you have the representation of the mem, which isn't highlighted here, which is here in the middle, so you can see it as distinguished as fire. So these are those that are marked, that are of the living fire and the living water, that have honor, authority, and character. So this banner, being conspicuous, is a banner of what? He sets his banner over me, which is love. And we've been discussing about love for the past several days as entering into the age of light and love. Over me is a word that roots out, and initially it says that in this position it's upon, above, and over, but it's from Allah. And what does Allah mean? To ascend, to climb, to go up. So this has to do with our ascension process in moving up higher and growing up and maturing. So we are going to have this banner that is set up, that is conspicuous, that is upon us, those who have the eyes to see the teachings, the teachings of light, which is part of the word leb, of heart, which is the authority of the inside, that has been given the power, means, and direction of the Father through love. This is really big. So going back to the very first time, do not awaken love before it's time. There's so much that I can say here, and I'm going to try to do this quickly. I don't like long teachings because I know our attention span is so short, but some of this stuff really needs to be shared. Shabbat means to swear. It's an oath, but I want you to see this, to be complete. So what is completion all about? Well, completion is finding that place of love without conditions. So we have the hey, we have the revelation that comes from mother's side. She is revealing to you what love is. And then on the other side, after the word meaning to complete, then we have the mark, the sign, the signature wave frequency of love that gives you the power of the right hand, which is those who give love. Very next word, you. This is generally, when you see this, this is the Aleph Tav. And Aleph Tav, if this is connecting to what my husband's been sharing, and we've been looking at Genesis 1:1, in the beginning created Elohim, Aleph Tav, the strong love, the one love. And then we have the Vav, which connects this to from the heavens to the earth, from the Shamayim to the Haaretz, through the Aleph Tav, which is also a shorthand way of saying the Aleph through the Tav. I am the Alpha and Omega. I am the Aleph, the Tav. I am the beginning and the end. So now we have back here to this verse, they have added the Kaf Mem. So the Yod means power of the giving, and the Kaf is the closed hand that has grasped a hold of it. This is spelled through its constituents letters as a Kaf Pei. Pei is the mouth that speaks forth revelation. And notice it's not a Sofit, it's not a fallen Kaf, it's a risen Kaf. So this means the language, the sacred languages that you have grasped a hold of, which is going to give you the power that comes from love of the Father, so that you can be out of the waters of chaos. If I'm trying to highlight this single mem here, the mem Sofit, the completed waters that you are surrounded now out of chaos because you found love. Daughters, banot, has a vav tav. So ben is the word for son. This is a son that has become a daughter. This will make more sense if you've watched any of my the Aramaic or the ancient Hebrew wedding about the sons becoming the daughters, because the root means to build. To build what? To build the family through love, because they've connected to the Tav, which is love. Vav Tav. They are filled completely. They have got a change sine wave frequency because they perfected love by finding love that has no conditions. We've talked about Jerusalem before, but it's this point. stirring up love. And why awaken Aleph Tav love? Why awaken Aleph Tav, the strong love that is connected to the fullness of love that is revealed through the mother and father before it is time? Ad, before it pleases. There's much that can be said here, but this word ad also means a testimony and a witness. Those who have the eyes to see, that have gone through and found the fountain of the deep. This is connected to the pineal gland. Those who would see inwardly, that have gone through the door to their inner man to find love. This word please is the word desire, to delight in. The root is het, pe, zadi. So those who are set apart from those who are inside, from those that are outside, that are in the covenant, that have taken the path of the spiritual language that brings revelation in the world of hunting and chasing. Zadi does have to do with desire, and it's hunt and chase after that which you desire in the fallen world, the world of materialism. But notice what happened. The Tav is on the inside. So those who have found love, Tav Vav, that have connected, that have their heart pierced within time, it only happens, love only happens when you get pierced on the inside and you finally connect to your heart. That is what this whole verse is. So there was a warning to not happen. There's a certain time when love needs to happen. And I wanted to share this with you because I thought that it was interesting to see what was being taught before. I went and pulled this up in a search, and this was godly youth do not waken love until it pleases, right? It's encouragement to others and a reminder to be patient in one's own relationship. What does it mean? Love can be compared to a lovely flower that blooms beautiful in its proper season. No amount of water or nutrients can force the flower to bloom before its time. Well, the time has been now. We have entered into the age of light and love. The video being released on 12/22/2020 was of major significance because we have now entered into that time. Anything before then, the reason why I experienced this thing with the cat was I needed to experience the fullness of what happens with love, in the fullness of extreme love on one end and the extreme on the other, which is death, which is actually the fear or having abandonment of being separated from that one love that is all consuming, that is the most beautiful thing that we can have, and the most beautiful thing that we can experience can also be the most painful. I was allowed to experience that with this cat, in what it felt like to be separated from that, and the agony, even though it was merciful. So in crossing over the bridge to one love, you have severity's mercy and then mercy's severity. In the inside, two coins, or one coin with the same face, the bridge in between, the narrow path, because severity and mercy are the exact same thing. We just render it clear, and it's the bridge to build to get across to the fullness of love without conditions. This is connecting to what was shared this morning. Yeshua said when he was on in the English translation, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" Yeshua felt the fullness of the separation as well as the fullness of love unconditional. He had been walking in that with his disciples. He was trying to teach them the way of love unconditional love. But then he also experienced the fullness of the separation from that, to learn the intensity of the emotion of love, two sides to the same coin. The fullness of being received and the fullness of the abandonment of the integral part of love. Let me share something with you so I can land the plane, because it has to do with death. We don't comprehend death because we went through the veil of forgetting. And I heard somebody speak about this recently. but they loved not their lives unto the death. And when I looked at it, I thought, well, that is very interesting, because the root word for death is mem vav nun. And I thought that I had it possibly pulled up, but if not, I'm going to pull it up anyway. I'm just going to pull it up really quickly. Strong's Hebrew, death, oops, mavet. So that you can see. So in Strong's Concordance, we have death, natural or violent, concretely the dead, their place or the state, Hades, figuratively pestilence or ruin, from, to die, mut. We all have this fear of death, and that is attached to our beast ego nature, because we don't remember that we're internal beings. To die, literally or figuratively. When we have a broken heart, we feel like we have just died. That's the figurative sense of the word. And when I walked away and left that cat at the vet's office, my heart was breaking. I literally felt like I was dying inside because of the separation. We need to talk about this here, because what I find so fascinating is that this word mut has a lamed in front of it and an aleph added on the back side. And death is the light of love. It teaches you through the waters of chaos. When we die, this is the waters of chaos, because we don't remember who we were, where we came from, and we believe that we are separated. But through death, you realize that you are connected to the one strong love, the Tav, the Father's covenant of one love, to become one with the family, the one love, the strong love of one family. Now, my uncle died. He was a kidney dialysis patient, and he had a near-death experience. And what he told me was he did not want to come back. The amount of love that he felt was so overwhelming and so beautiful and so peaceful that he didn't want to come back. He was done. He was ready to be done. And he heard a voice that said, "You're not finished with your journey yet." And then he came back into his body. So there is something that we need to really recognize about death, because this is where it teaches us that it is through the waters of chaos, of the forgetting. That's why we have fear from it, but we will then see that we are connected to the one love when we go through that water, when we go through that act of separation. It will reveal to us the one love, the light of the one love. And I'm saying that because the only way that we can get out of this matrix, it is appointed once for man to die. When you enter into the matrix, the way to get out of it is death. But you can't cheat death through taking of your own life. So for me, I saw that cat. That cat was wanting to end its life, and it was willing to put itself in front of a vehicle because it was suffering. And so then we were right there to be able to pick it up and help with the merciful side of it, so that it didn't have to end its life. It was given love, it was given warmth, it was given an outpouring of love, and handed over to somebody that could mercifully help transfer it over so its next leg of the journey could happen. The word love in Aramaic is not ahava now. It has a het, which means to separate those that are on the outside from those that are in the inside of love. And this word right here, ach, means brother. So when you hear brotherhood, many people use that term. It's just a frequency. It's the brotherhood of light, the brotherhood of love that have found it on the inside, and they've been connected to it. They have been pierced. They are in meekness now They have connected to that one love, and they have connected to source. So they are the brotherhood that has been built on the inside, connected to love, because that's what source is. I am going to add on the end of this Adma, because I did share something a couple weeks ago on a Sabbath teaching. I'm going to just add it on the backside so that you can see what this Adma means. It's the word until. And it's really profound, because this really means until death. Until death do us part, which is really a lie, because we don't ever die. It's an illusion. Last thing I want to say is this word here, which means testimony. I'm not going to go in detail on this. We can save that for another time as we talk about the witness and the testimony. But I want you to see this right here. This ending, utha. Utha is the same ending that you find in the word kayutha. And we're going to take a peek at that really fast so that I can show you, because I always want to show you things. I don't want to just tell them to you and have you take my word for it. I want you to see it in the word and take the word for it. I'm just bringing this to you because we see the English translations that hide everything so that we don't ever get to overcome our fear, such as that whole thing of death. Because there isn't a plan. There is a nefarious plan, and they want to eliminate 2/3 of the population. But how much more if we can experience and understand that death is really an illusion, and it's a transition into a greater love and experiencing that oneness, so that we don't end up getting to the place where we are fearing and keeping ourselves in that lower vibration. That's what they want. They want to keep us in the low vibration so that we don't experience the oneness before we die, and then we go into death with so much fear that we are kept from this one love. It's high time that we bring attention to this and talk about it as a huge, strong illusion that it needs to be dismantled. And we need to embrace the love that is in the transition, because there's going to come a time when we are no longer having the fear of it, because we will realize that we are truly not separated. We just do get to experience something else in a different form, because we're all of one. So the word, I've shared this with you before, the word is kayutha. And the kayutha, and this is important that you understand this, the kayutha, although the end of kayutha, here's one of them, has an aleph, and this one has an aleph. The aleph and the hey are interchangeable, because hey is spelled hey hey or hey aleph. They're one and the same. It's the revelation of the one love. So the reason why I'm pointing this out to you is that kayutha is the fullness of the utha that you receive if you are a witness and a testimony to this one love. These are those that are revealing the Hey Aleph, because that's how Hey is spelled. That is the fullness of the final manifestation of the one love. Utha. It sounds exactly the same as Kayutha. You do not see the difference. But what are these people coming to do? They are a testimony and a witness to connecting to the one love, the signature frequency, sine wave signature frequency that has connected and is revealing this one love to you. And why do they do that? Because they are coming to connect as mothers to be the light teachers that are going to bring forth the one law of the one love, of the brotherhood, of the ones that have built and have connected to the Father's love. They now have the inside authority because they've built it in their flesh, and until the point where now they are the teachers of light that understand and comprehend death in the fullness of becoming one love together as a transition, so that when it comes to the time where we have to experience death, the sting will be taken out of it. When we experience it, awakening love before its time, before us having the remembering, is going to hurt like hell whenever we experience a loved one passing away. But if we can reach in and bring forth the age of light and love, fullness awareness, fifth dimensional awareness, where we do not have the veil of forgetting and we remember, there is no sting in death. So as we begin to meditate on these letters, we allow their light to come in. We are going to punch through that. We will remember that there is no separation. So it's great to want to have the love, but doing it before its time is going to allow you to have the greatest pain that you've ever experienced. But it's from the same side. The greatest emotion, the greatest of all these things is love. It's two sides of the same thing, of the greatest emotion that connects us back to source. What it felt like to be abandoned, or felt like you got be abandoned, so that you could search and find it to be brought together again. This connects with what my husband was saying about falling into love and finding the fulfillment of love and connecting it so death no longer has its sting. I hope this made some sense to you. I apologize for the tears, but now I'm understanding severity's mercy as the bridge of mercy's severity, finding that narrow path that few find, that get us to the place of love without conditions, unconditional love, where we fully are remembering and we will be remembered. It's the fullness of our becoming, and we're grasping a hold of this age of light and love. I hope this helps. It did for me to sort through what I experienced, and I just felt that it was worthy to share it with you guys. So I love you very much, and I am so grateful you're here. Please leave comments, experiences, what these teachings mean to you. If you are bold enough to leave a message, maybe it's exactly what somebody else needs to hear. If you're strong and courageous enough to ask a question, maybe you are the one that has the strength and the courage to ask the question that somebody else needs to hear the answer to, but they just didn't have the ability to type it out. So we're all doing our part. Again, I love you. I thank you for being here. Shalom, shalom, and namaste.